Hey there, Chris from Crux Interfacing, congratulating you on the purchase of your brand new Crux SOOCR-26 wiring harness adapter, which is going to allow you to wire and install your new aftermarket radio to your select Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from 2005 and up. Now in this unboxing, we're going to show you everything that's included with the new harness adapter, along with the instructions on how to get it set up and wired to your new aftermarket radio. Now this harness adapter works with a ton of year, make, and model vehicles from 2005 and up when installing your new aftermarket radio. From Chrysler and Dodge to Jeep and even a Mitsubishi and Volkswagen vehicle, we're not going to go through this list in great detail, but we can list all applicable vehicles so you can see if this harness will work for your install. Now, let's go ahead and get this box pulled apart to show you everything that this wiring harness radio interface includes. Now you have your main wiring harness adapters, and you'll notice Crux includes two versions of it. You're going to use either one or the other. You'll just find the one that fits your specific vehicle, the whatever one plugs in, and that's the one you're going to be using in your install. It comes all ready to go to be a plug-and-play system here. No manual wiring is needed, and on this end comes pre-stripped, labeled, and ready to be wired to whatever aftermarket radio you choose to install. Now FYI, in terms of what these wiring colors are, we'll cover that in great detail on those wiring colors and functions when we review the instruction manual here in a few moments. Additionally, also includes your smart module, and this helps communicate between the vehicle and your new aftermarket radio to retain those important functions in the car, such as your accessory, your illumination, and anything that typically runs over the data system of the vehicle. Finally, here in the center, this little harness is specific to your Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicle, whether you have the factory amplifier or not. So let's go ahead and jump into our manual here, and we're going to walk you through the process of how to get your new Crux harness all set up. With our manual open and pulled up here, at the top of the screen you can see all the product features, though note that this specific harness model does not retain steering wheel volume controls. It's meant in vehicles that don't have those buttons to control the radio on the steering wheel itself. If you need the version with steering wheel volume controls, we can link that harness and video down in the description of this one. It supports both the amplified and non-amplified systems. Generally, to find out whether you have one versus the other, you typically would see an amplifier logo like Alpine or Infinity found within the vehicle. Provides a reverse trigger for rear view camera use, whether it's factory or aftermarket. And finally, it's EIA color coded for easy wiring and installation to your chosen aftermarket radio. Couple of things to note: the front and rear fading control on the new radio are not going to be adjustable if you have one of those upgraded factory audio sound systems like Alpine or Infinity. Also, this harness does support radio replacements with vehicles with either the 4.3 or 8.4 inch factory OEM screens. Again, if you have steering wheel volume controls, this isn't the harness for you. You're going to want the SOOCR-29 version. And if you want the dash kit included with your harness kit, there's actually an all-in-one kit, and it's the DKCR-59K. Further down in the instructions show you everything that it comes with, whether it's the first generation harness or a second generation harness. The easiest way to tell which one you need is simply, once the radio's been removed, go see which one plugs in. That's going to be the one in your install. Next here towards the bottom, Crux does an amazing job to help identify what wire goes where, and they basically lay it out so you can see where all your connections are going to be made. You'll see where it connects to the factory harness plug, what harness plugs into your smart module. It talks a little bit about that specific audio filter, and it talks about all the other wiring colors and functions found on the harness itself. Looking a little closer here, your pink is your vehicle speed sense. May or may not be needed with your aftermarket radio, depending on what radio you use. Most radios with onboard navigation or wireless CarPlay or wireless Android Auto will need the vehicle speed sense. Orange is going to be illumination. Blue-white is going to be your antenna or amplifier turn-on wire, especially if you have the upgraded amplified audio sound system from factory. You're going to need to hook that up to your new aftermarket radio. That'll turn that factory amp on as soon as the radio boots up. Purple-white is going to be a reverse trigger wire, which will automatically cycle over to the reverse mode as soon as you put the vehicle in reverse. If you have the manual transmission, that reverse signal or indicator does not come through the CAN bus of the vehicle. You'll have to get that at the reverse light if you have a manual transmission. Yellow is going to be your constant 12 volt or memory wire. Red's going to be your accessory or 12 volt ignition wire. And then finally, black is your ground. Now, we haven't talked about your speaker wiring colors here because we'll cover that on the next page. Now, finally here on the second page towards the bottom is those speaker wire connections. And you'll notice there's two very distinct columns, whether you have the non-amplified or amplified sound system. Quickly looking here at the non-amplified system, simply it's going to be color for color. So your whites, grays, greens, and purples with its corresponding black striped wire is going to match directly to your radio's whites, grays, greens, and purples. So no special connection needed there. And then on the audio filter harness, you'll plug it into the non-amplified side. We'll show you what that looks like a little bit more here in a moment. Now, if you do have the Alpine or Infinity audio upgraded sound system here, you'll notice your aftermarket wire color. You may not use all of them on the Crux harness adapter. So your whites, grays, greens, purples on the aftermarket radio side don't exactly correspond with the Crux side, again, because we're trying to integrate with that factory amp. So your aftermarket radio's white wire will actually connect into the green wire of the Crux harness. White-black goes to green-black, gray goes to purple, gray-black goes to purple-black. Again, remember, it only takes 2 channels of input from the factory amp, and they happen to be the rear speakers. We want to use our aftermarket radio's front speaker outputs to send that signal to that factory amp. You will not use the green, green-black, purple, purple-black of your new aftermarket radio. You'll just cap those off, and they're not going to be used in your application. So that's how that basically identifies how to wire up your speaker wire connections, whether you have the non-amplified or amplified sound system from factory. Now, last thing to note here on the final page, for special circumstances for vehicles that have the 4.3 or 8.4 inch factory OEM screen, this harness still does work for you. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep vehicles, they've moved the CAN bus or the data wires in the harness from where they currently are pinned in the harness that you get in the box to a different location, and this specifically identifies where to move those connections for CAN positive and CAN negative. Generally speaking, your CAN connections are found here in your first set. And unfortunately, if you have a 4.3 or 8.4 inch screen, they've moved them to pins 7 and 18 here in the center of the harness. And so if you want to use this harness with those specific screens and your data system isn't working, you're going to have to tap into those connections manually as shown here in the diagram. Back here at the bench, we just want to quickly look at these harnesses here. Now, again, this end plugs into your vehicle. This 12-pin harness, go ahead and we'll plug into your smart module, just like so. And then these ends will specifically wire into your aftermarket radio using the function and wiring diagram found in your instructions. Now, quick note about making those connections to your new aftermarket radio. We strongly suggest that you don't simply twist and tape, or even worse, use wire nuts from Home Electrical, as they're just not designed for an automotive application. Alternatively, we either suggest you crimp or solder your connections. You can crimp by using butt connectors or crimp caps, but if you have the means to do so, soldering and heat shrinking your connections will give you a strong connection, which will eliminate any potential shorts down the road. So taking a closer look at this audio filter here, again, remember, if you have the non-amplified, you don't have the Alpine or Infinity audio sound systems, you'll plug it into that side and simply wire up your speaker wires color for color. If you have the amplified, it plugs into the other side, and these ends will actually plug directly into your front speakers, the white, black, gray, and gray black of your new aftermarket radio. So you'll feed your front speakers into this, which will go to the amplifier. Now that's about it for this unboxing and review of your brand new SOOCR-26 harness adapter. If you have any questions on what we covered here, go ahead and post those down in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you liked what you saw, and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content on the channel all the time, and we will see you in the next video.